Joining us now for more about Mr. Marcos SONA is Eduardo Araral from the Kuan School of Public Policy. He's visiting now Manila from Singapore. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. We heard some really very important points that President Marcos Jr. mentioned in his SONA, from the economy to health, an independent foreign policy, interconnectivity, digitalization. But I'm sure what our kababayans wanted to hear was immediate relief from rising prices of the food crisis and rising fuel prices. Why wasn't this specifically mentioned in his speech?
You're right. I was hoping that the president would say something about inflation or immediate relief. You know, di ko may kasabihan sa Pilipino, aanhin mo ang damo pagpatay na ang kabayo. Ano? The president, in fairness to him, did mention a lot of solutions to a lot of problems, but those relief will not come in 6, 7, or 10 months from now. What people are looking for, what happens sa presyo ng gasolina, kuryente, pagkain, and
food
so on.
prices.
Food
Putting,
prices.
3 square meals on their table every day.
That's right. So the president's solution is to import fertilizer, improve productivity, and that will take time, Rico, but maybe 8 months. Ano? So siguro, most Filipinos would be hoping na tanggalin yung excise tax sa fuel para merong instant relief. Not only for the people at the bottom, but also yung sandwiched middle class who are also suffering from rising fuel and food prices. Rico.
But apart from that, no, according to a Pulse Asia survey of 1,200 adult Filipinos, the top urgent national concerns of Filipinos from June 24 to June 27, Professor, was not only inflation, that was at the top of the list, which you mentioned, but also increasing pay of workers, reducing poverty of Filipinos, creating more jobs. And
right.
This was not also mentioned in his speech.
Well, not directly, but job creation, he was referring to it in terms of the macroeconomic fundamentals, basically to get the business confidence back so that they would start to invest and then deal with the health aspect of the economy. So he did not mention that directly, but those are the those are the solutions.
Those are the byproducts. Those are the solutions.
Yeah. Yung poverty naman, ito yung his approach to agriculture, that government will directly support the farmers.
So a lot of issues he tackled indirectly, right?
Right.
But on the issue which was raised by past presidents, not only Duterte, but also the late President Aquino and President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, was on corruption and the drug war. He did not tackle this in his State of the Nation.
Yes, surprisingly, Rico. So the word corruption did not come up. Maybe it was implied in the organizational civil service reform, but a lot of people would probably, they're also expecting the president to talk about corruption and other political reforms. But maybe he will talk about those things hopefully next year's SONA, because the priority would be the economy, jobs, and those things. But hopefully, maybe he's calibrating, he's pacing, and putting his priorities.
But it was mentioned by his sister, Senator Amy Marcos, because the reporters were also asking her, what do you want to hear from your brother SONA? And she said, contempt for corruption, fight the drug war. It came from her, but it did not come from the president.
Right. These are difficult subjects to deal, Rico. And maybe mas importante yung addressing yung problems ng food, ng energy, ng farmers, ng COVID, education. These are what people have in mind, because corruption will always be there. So hopefully next year he will discuss political reforms, corruption, and these things. Right?
What impressed you the most from this 1 hour and 20-minute speech of President Marcos?
Maraming palakpak.
Well, there were 2, loud applauses and standing ovations.
Right, that's right.
One was for the foreign policy and the other one was for the special hospitals.
That's right. I think that really struck a nerve sa mga kababayan natin, because pag may sakit sila, they have to go to Manila and they spend so much money. And I think the politicians in the room felt that was really a very important part of the speech, because ang nilalapitan ng mga kababayan natin, mga politiko, pag may sakit, di ba? So if you bring these specialized hospitals in the regions, then that would really solve a lot, because once you get sick, that's it, Rico. You spend so much money. So that really stood out to me. But of course, the other thing that stood out to me is the president speaks like a professor. He spews a lot of facts.
Which was at the
memorized
top of
them
his speech, no?
At the top.
When I was watching, I felt like he was talking to foreign investors
That's
and
right,
to the
that's
financial
right.
markets.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of specific numbers.
And he was very careful in yung mga stakeholders niya, no? He has a message for farmers, for solo parents, for creative artists, for OFWs, for the regions, for businessmen, and it's very calibrated and targeted approach.
But not much, Professor Araral, on peace and order and defense.
Yes, very sensitive siguro yun, no? I was also surprised that that did not come up. Maybe next SONA. Maybe he prefers to keep quiet on those things that could divide the country. And maybe it's already too much on his plate just to talk about the pandemia and then the economy and priority reforms. But anyway, this is just year one. Marami pa dapat i-expect sa ano. We cannot expect him to address all problems in year one. So it has to be prioritized.
And of course, he really has the political will behind him and the supermajority of both houses of Congress, the Senate and the lower house. So he can really push for a lot of key reforms to basically transform the economy and the country.
Yeah, sana Rico, pero even like Duterte, he was not able to push for some of his reforms, like the Land Use Act. He was not able to push for that. Duterte was not able to push for federalism or the two packages of tax reforms because controversial, even if the president is popular but Congress will not support it, mahirap din.
Okay, critical is always the first 100 days.
That's right.
He's already done with close to a month, no? Since his inauguration speech. What should he accomplish over the next remaining 60 plus days till the 100 days?
All right. Well, siguro yung immediate relief ng inflation, and sabi niya, the government will import yung fuel, fertilizers and so on, and that will take time, Rico. By the time dumating ang mga fuel na yan, siguro mga another 2-3 months. So what we're looking for is instant relief in the next 3 months, no? So I was really hoping the president would, say something about suspending the excise tax because that one will benefit the poor, the middle class, especially, diba? And instant yung relief, no? Lahat ng mga proposal niya will take another 3 months, 6 months. Baka maubos na yung goodwill ng Pilipino pagka hindi pa naayos yung mga problema sa presyo.
So it's really very important that he implements these reforms sooner rather than later. Professor
right.
Eduardo Araral from the Kuan School of Public Policy, thank you so much
Thank you, Rico.
for your insights.